Okay, sorry about that. The edit did not go through. Now it has. I hate it when I have to restart the podcast, but okay, here we go. And boy, am I going to get into it today. Yeah, not happy at all with a lot of events going on. And I don't even know where to begin. So here in Canada, we have several things going on all at once that is making it really crazy hard to get a certain message out. So obviously the title, Canada to send 33 million in aid to Ukraine. Yeah. So given the current situation of everything and knowing what I know, I saw the headlines yesterday and I posted a comment that I'm not sure that we have our priorities straight. Yeah, it's a very noble idea to want to help Ukraine. I get it. I also, obviously support Ukraine. Sending 33 million, that, I mean, as much as I would like to end world hunger and ensure world peace, and I would like everybody to love one another, not gonna happen. But let's get to it in detail because I have quite a few things. So last spring, Canada passed this law forcing, well, not forcing, because obviously YouTube, Facebook, Google have just stopped reporting uh, stuff, news, kind of, sort of. If it's not something that you've looked at before, they won't promote it to you. Any news. At least if you're living in Canada. Because the law obliges a certain percentage of stuff being promoted to be, mostly Canadian. So yesterday I saw a Canadian CBC feed saying, oh, Canada's going to send 33 million to Ukraine. And I replied to that. And immediately I started getting shills. And I do mean shills. And the thing is that during the pandemic, our government gave lots and millions to the CBC and other Canadian media in exchange for favors to, represent in a good light the government. So anything that so the CBC reports in a favorable way what Canada is doing because Canada is great and, we're helping out Ukraine with another 33 millions. And some of us are like, yeah, we are dealing with record inflation, interest rates, everything going skyrocket. The third tax over tax on fuel and petroleum and all these things. I mean, it's just absolutely gone bonkers. It makes no sense. There is no responsible adults running this country now, apparently. I get it. I do. I really get it. But then these shells just started replying to my posts, and I would reply my point of view, and immediately another one would reply. So basically, the money that our taxpayers gave to the government helped out these these media state-run, which I mean, the only other places that you see state media run by the government's funds is like China and Russia. So we have really good company there, and they were just striking down everything I was saying just to promote an argument. So the money that helped them bail out, they're turning around and buying shills to create controversy in the post, to keep you posted, to keep the videos up so that YouTube pays these companies. Because every time you post a comment or discussion, it gets recycled into the YouTube analytics and is promoted. So they are creating controversy just for the sake of creating controversy, paid for by our dollars. So I'm just talking to somebody who's paid by my tax money to argument me, and which makes no sense. So I got into the argument yesterday that, we have other priorities for this, but I get shut down like, during the First World War, we had these things, and, our Soldiers' Remembrance Day, and least we forget, means that the soldiers have died, and it's to remember them. It's not only that, it's to remember what they were fighting for. A free world, yes. Noble ideas. But never again are we gonna embark in this kind of stuff. And instead, keep our ideals and keep going with our peacekeeping idea where, we act as a neutral intermediary. Then people, obviously take up the stance that things didn't go well for Canada and Rwanda. And that's just my point. As much as a noble idea is, it doesn't always work out. So as much as giving 33 million to Ukraine seems noble, it just will end up killing more Ukrainians. They need to get back to the negotiating table with Russia and concede. I've been to Ukraine. I've lived in Ukraine. You won't see a population, they take care of their own. They are very family oriented. They really love their children. All that stuff. Great people. But having said that, ever since they separated from Russia, it was up to them to take the destiny in their own hands. And sadly, because of the USSR and the way things were, you have this habit of absolute corruption. Absolute corruption through and through, from police to everything. It's just rampant. It's not even funny. And they needed to get that under control. It's a very corrupt system over there. Having lived there, I mean, you can love the people, but the system and everything else, is just, they need to address that issue. If you can just buy your way out of everything thinking that this is capitalism and this is the way of the free world, they're not wrong. because Canada's turning into that, and the states have been a lot of that. But as much as Johnny Depp has money, he can't pay his way out of a court thing. He had to go through court anyways. Where in Ukraine now, you just pay off people and it goes away. So, not a good thing. They needed to get their corruption, and they had like 30 years to do it, and they never did it. So, obviously, that is not helping their case. If they would have turned into a somewhat, reasonable state and tried and tried and tried, and you would see the efforts going into everything, maybe. But they just let it festered. So basically, you have the mafia running everything over there. Then you have the fact that Canada, amongst other free countries such as the States, promised Russia that we would not, put NATO states on the border with Russia. And then all of a sudden, that's something we promised. And it was to keep the world peace, and it was very noble in the 90s to do so. Then we decided, you know what, let's ask Ukraine to join NATO and try to get them. Ukraine wasn't gonna join because they were so corrupt. That was the major factor for NATO not immediately accepting them. But just the fact that we were having the discussion should not have happened, because like now, we could have supported Ukraine without having them being a member of NATO, since we did promise Russia that we wouldn't do so. Then you have all the coups and all the things and all the puppets in place and all kinds of stuff happening in Ukraine, and the interventions of the free world in 2014 or 2016 or whatever you want there going on. But then, up until a couple of weeks before the special military operation, you had Ukraine saying they want nukes. Well, you gave up your nukes in exchange for free democracy that you squandered and, misused the opportunity, and over the course of 30 years never did anything to better the situation. And now you're wanting nukes. You want weapons. Russia was not gonna stand for it. There's this one thing that the states in the free world promised not to put NATO. NATO promised that it would not put anything in the borders of Russia, and then, we're having talks about that. Then you have this one state that apparently we're in negotiations with, saying, hey, yeah, we want nukes. We had nukes, we want them again. Nobody should have nukes. It makes no sense to want nukes. So, if we're going to give them 33 million, why don't we just give them nukes and be done with? I mean, obviously, the best deterrent is if Ukraine had nukes, Russia would not attack because they had nukes. But to prevent all this situation, and we don't understand this. And then it's like, well, remember when Russia gave nukes to Cuba right on the borders of the states, the United States, and Kennedy did not like that. And they were threatening to go to war. So Russia, being the good guy they were, took the nukes back. Okay, Cuba won't have any on the US border. But, we did not learn from that lesson, and we're like, oh, why did Russia invade? Well, you didn't like it when it was done to you. Why can you not understand you don't they don't like it having it done to them. Crazy, crazy stuff. So, as much as it's noble to want to do all of this, it makes no sense. And you have these people saying, you know what? It's the best bang for the buck for our military. Let's just give them more money, way more money. There are no other priorities. Yes, I definitely think that we should help everybody who's starving, hunger, and homeless here in Canada before helping others. You know, you can only help those that help themselves, and Canada is not helping itself, trying to promote I don't know what by sending millions to, I mean, 33 millions compared to the budget is not much. But give a million to 33 people here in Canada, which they can develop companies and have people work and grow the economy to combat inflation. That would be a great idea. Luckily, a lot of people are debating in this, but they don't realize that it's just shills paid for by our thing, and they are just feeding the fuel, and the thread keeps going and going and going. And once again, we are bickering amongst ourselves, and I keep saying, no, we need stuff that unites us and addresses the issues. So you have these people that will endorse whatever the government says. Then you have the alternative, that is to vote conservative, who's the polar opposite. Man, we are not heading into a good situation. We do need to find a middle ground, and currently we don't have any. Like, I'm a middle ground, and it's taken forever to grow my channel just because nobody is interested in the middle ground. Nobody understands. I can support in my prayers Ukraine, but I can't change what's going on. Just like I can support, the Chinese people and their corrupt government. Doesn't mean that we should fund their government to help the people because, they're starving and stuff and having to deal with climate and all that stuff. I mean, why don't we just give nukes to Mexico? See how the Americans like that. Having a corrupt state run by, the drug cartels. But at least Mexico is kind of trying to, but then kind of not, because whatever's going on in Mexico, the Americans have a major role to play there. They made deals with certain cartels and certain things, and if you keep it in doing this like this, then you can do that and so on and so forth. I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel here. So much of it is just nonsense. We fight for freedom and providing aid. That's the Canadian way. Yeah, well, let's help Nigeria. Let's help Congo. Let's help out all these African states because they got no food to feed their people. I don't, we're just feeding a war machine, a war industry. Because, by giving money to Ukraine, we are not helping out the Ukrainians. They in turn buy weapons. So all this money, these 33 million, is going to the death merchants, the industry of making weapons, which is big buck. So I don't see how this is helping anybody in the long term. Yeah, we are helping to establish peace and protect the skies. Yeah, we should have, Canada has this thing of least we forget and never again. And people think that it's just to remember the soldiers that have fallen. No, it's to remember why they fought and they've fallen. It's just shills people to get you angry. People have lost their ability to think for themselves. They are just, I don't know if it's people that are brainwashed, people that can't think for themselves. I don't know if it's propaganda and they're being brainwashed. It's a sad state of affair when people just digest whatever the state media tells them. But yeah, these people are paid for. So no, I won't be following up on any comments on the CBC anymore. Any state-run, state-funded media is absolutely nonsense. Maybe I'm wrong in this. I don't think I am. If you can give me some valid points on why we were offering NATO membership and talking about it with Ukraine when we promised Russia that we wouldn't be doing so. And we failed to understand why we are in this current situation now. I mean, even Germany, has gone through, they have so many seats in their schools and their universities. So let's say out of 100, 95% of them are studying gender, and we have 5 of them studying nuclear fission and fusion and all these things. We are in a energy crisis. If you want to move away from fuel fossils energy, we need to start thinking about nuclear, as it is still one of the cleanest energies out there. As much as you want wind, but look at the windmills. They're killing birds at an astonishing rate. They cost a lot of money, and the amount of energy produced is not enormous. Yes, there's better ways, better placements, better everything, and I am all for alternatives and diversification, but don't forget your core. You can't rely on solar panels because the days that it's not sunny, we don't get as much. The days that it's not windy, we're not getting as much. So you need a little bit of everything to keep it going. But our priorities are all wrong when 95% of university seats are there to study gender. I mean, there's male, female, and everything in between is kind of flu and is irrelevant. I don't care what you do in your bedroom, honestly. If you want to be a cross dresser and wear, if you're a guy and you want to wear girls' clothes, that's up to you. I don't really care. Either way, it's like tattoos, it's like earrings in the noses, it's like having your hair all different colors. I don't care. When I go and buy something, treat me with respect, and I will treat you with respect. But give me a break, then don't insult me because I didn't use the right pronouns talking to a cashier who's there to serve my needs. I'm giving you money. Treat me with respect and don't give me a lecture. When I say hello, are you having a good day? And the you is not the right pronoun used. You need to be addressing me as a pony because I identify as a pony. I'm a little pretty pony. Makes no sense. Come on, people. Everybody's just following what their neighbors are doing, and it's been going on for so long. We have alternative medias now. We kind of do need to start thinking for ourselves. We need to have at least 25% of the people thinking for themselves. I know I'm asking for too much. Currently, it's like the 1%. And that's really scary, and I don't think there is any hope. Let's just blow everything up. We'll, start over again. There's a theory out there that man used to have knowledge, and then an asteroid hit the Earth, and we were forced to go and live in caves while the skies cleared up and the ice age went away. And we had to concentrate on things like getting fire going instead of all the knowledge that we used to have. And we're having to relearn all of this knowledge, and where hasn't it gotten us back to the point where it's completely useless? We're bickering about all of these other things. Maybe bombing ourselves into the Stone Age is not a bad thing. Let's maybe start all over again. I mean, it's one thing to have a job. Okay, your job is to be a shill and to argument and to throw the most absurd of comments on a YouTube channel. How can you live with yourself? A lot of people saying, oh, you should, do this and do that in your videos. Follow the mega trends, promote stupid ideas and stupid things. Just argue everything. I don't want to argue everything, but I just would like people to open up their eyes and start thinking for themselves. It would be so nice if people could do that. So, okay, enough of my rant for today. Let me know in the comments your point of view. Let's have a real discussion here. And hopefully some people's eyes will be opened. And let's just discuss things. Like, I will literally remove any shill comments if I have to, if you have a valid point of view. Yes, it's my channel. I'll decide what's reasonable or not. Be safe out there. It is a crazy, crazy world we're living in currently, and we need to band together and attack the real priorities.